Good morning, friends. It is Brooke from LegaSHE here, trying to decide whether or not I should get one of those fancy setups. Oh, Western New York, fancy setups. You know, where you have the microphone and you have the light and it's fancy? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's me. I, you know, I just don't know. So, anyway, I'm just bringing that up because if you see me with a fancy setup, you know that it finally called to me enough and said, please make me part of your life, that I did it. Gotta listen to your intuition, everybody. Just kind of put it out there and see what happens. So, a lot of folks have responded really positively to the conversation around mentorship, or I guess we could also call it coaching. You could call it any term that you like to use for looking over at someone and saying, help me, human person who's done something amazing with their life. Help me understand how you did that, right? So is it a mentor, a coach, an advocate for you, a leader, whatever you want to call it. We could get very granular here and we could fight. I shouldn't say fight, debate over, fight has such a negative connotation. We could debate over like what's the proper term. But in honor of simplification, as you know, is the most important thing in this life, simplifying. I'm just going to say you call the person that you want to learn something from anything you want to call them. Teacher, coach, mentor, advocate for you, sponsor, leader, boss, whatever. Call them whatever. So whatever that person is to you, I'll use the word mentor because I think it's accepted. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback on that particular video, interestingly, because that one was more of a fluke. So I'm going to go down that rabbit hole a little bit and talk a little bit more about being a good mentor to others. So being a good mentor to others, I think there's more to it than just me saying your mindset needs to be positive. Yes, absolutely. The mindset is key. That's the cornerstone. That's the foundational piece that helps you build up on top of it. So mindset. But let me go a little deeper on that and let me expand upon what I've noticed over my life as I have worked very hard to become whole and healed and calm and kind and happy in my own skin every single day. What I've noticed about the way that different folks meet the world and how that translates into mentorship. So I actually see people in two buckets now. I'm sorry to be so simple, but you know I like simplifying, so that's how I do it. That's how I roll. So I see people in two buckets. I see them as either owners of their life or victims of life. They own their life, or they're a victim of people, circumstances, their own thoughts, their own emotions, right? So you sort of have these two different ways of approaching life. And when I was talking before about mindset of a mentor, I want to just peel it back a little bit more and say anyone you're following behind, whether it be a teacher, a boss, a coach, whatever you want to call them, anyone you're following behind, it's really important to get a gauge early on how they meet life. Do they meet life as a victim of circumstance, their own thoughts, their own emotions, which they can't control, other people? This happened to me and it's unfair and someone should fix it. Do they meet life that way, or do they meet life fully owning everything about life? Time, they own time, their own time. They make time. They're the source of time. They create time. Yeah, it's a big thought bucket right there that we could dig into, but that's really important. Is it somebody who believes they own their own time and can create time? Is it someone who believes that they are in charge of their actions, their thoughts, their emotions, their beliefs, and how they show up? Is it someone who, when you sit in a room with them, okay, now I'm going to go into vibes, right? We're going to do a vibe check here. When you sit, I'm Gen X. I think my millennials and Gen Zs will understand whether the vibe is off. Rings true. We Gen Xers and older are sort of like, what is this vibe? But I've learned to get in tune with it, and I appreciate that language because I think that language translates really well. So the vibe is, and you can see this with when you start to get really intuitive and in touch with yourself, you can actually feel when you're walking into a space, you can begin to feel the vibe that others are putting off. And it's microscopic often in their gestures and the way their face is sort of furrowed brow or open and happy. It's in the body language. It's in the things that come out of their mouth. It's the tone. It's the words they choose. All of that is reflective of their mindset. Are they a victim of life, or are they an owner of their outcome? And so it is really fascinating to me when I watch people choose mentors. I see, or coaches, or people that they're going to follow behind in some way to learn from those people. I see often that people choose sort of based on these superficial, and I mean superficial by like, hey, this person was successful in X. Okay, yes, that's great. They were successful at X. But I don't know if them being successful at X necessarily translates into their being able to impart that wisdom forward, because you don't know when you're choosing to follow behind that person. You don't know whether they got that success by luck, by standing on top of some sort of box that was propped up against the fence for them to look over the fence and jump over the fence faster than other people. You don't know if they were manipulative to get there, which means their house of cards is going to stumble, or is going to fall down. They're going to stumble, and the house of cards is going to collapse at some point. You can typically tell by looking at the relationships that they have, whether or not they're meeting life with more than just an eye on monetary success, and have they swam through life in a way that's an attempt to uplift others and bring others with, and be in service to others and preserve relationships, and in doing so have great success in life because they've worked hard to be in service to other people. You can look at a mentor or potential X, fill in the blank. And as long as you're willing to go deeper than the surface level, they were successful at hitting this rank within an organization, or they were successful in building X thing. As long as you look past just that superficial, I want to follow them because of that marker, and you're willing to go deeper and say, but what do their relationships look like, and how do they engage in rooms, and what's the vibe like when I'm sitting with them? And you're paying attention to all of these different factors. If you're open and you're intuitive and you're sort of in tune with yourself and saying, do I feel good in this space with this person, or do I not feel good in this space with this person? You'll get a lot of data by picking up on all of these other things, as opposed to keeping it at a very superficial level. So I invite everyone, as you're really engaging on who do I want to follow, whose advice do I want, look at the life they are living in lots of aspects, and then ask yourself, do I want to follow them? Do I want to emulate them? That is really, really key to making sure you put yourself, because you are not a victim of life. Don't be a victim of life. You're putting yourself on a path. You are choosing for yourself which street to walk down. No one is making that choice for you. So you have a say, and you should really tune into yourself to figure out if you're aligning with somebody else on a lot of different fronts, not just the one superficial front of he was financially or she was financially successful or she attained a certain level. I hope that this was helpful this morning. Have a wonderful day, everyone.